You're watching the Earth do something you've only ever seen in disaster movies, and it's not CGI. It's not a simulation. This is real life, and the ground is literally sliding sideways beneath your feet. Not cracking, not shaking, sliding. On March 28, 2025, the Sigang Fault in Myanmar, quiet for a while, sleeping like it always does, decided to wake up. Not gently, not politely. It lunged. A magnitude 7.7 earthquake, ripping through the crust like a steel zipper, tearing across centuries of built-up tension.
If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Your feedback helps shape what we cover next, and you being here keeps the conversation going. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
What you see in this footage is mind-blowing. The Earth doesn't rumble softly in the distance. It doesn't just sway like a slow-motion wave. No, this is a lateral shift. A clean, jarring, 8 to 10 foot sideways displacement that happens in a flash. Roads misalign. Trees jerk out of place. Fences are suddenly visibly out of sync. It's as if two different chunks of land had a disagreement and decided to part ways permanently. This isn't some background geological detail. It's a visceral, eye-popping reminder that the ground beneath us is not solid. It's dynamic, tense, coiled, and when it lets go, it doesn't hold back. Welcome to the Sigang Fault's latest performance. A strike-slip earthquake of cinematic proportions, starring real crustal deformation, super shear rupture speeds, and a supporting cast of shocked scientists and stunned citizens. Let's rewind a bit. Myanmar's Sigang Fault is no stranger to seismic drama. It's a major transform fault, the kind where tectonic plates don't push into each other or pull apart but grind sideways, face to face, like tectonic elbows in a long, slow bar fight. This fault runs roughly north-south, slicing the country almost in half, and it's long been a source of worrying for geologists. But even with its track record, no one expected this quake to come in this hot, this fast, and most importantly with this kind of documentation. See, earthquakes happen all the time, but we almost never see them happen at the surface. We feel them, sure, we detect them, but capturing the exact moment when the fault physically ruptures the ground, practically unheard of. Until now, this video, the first of its kind, shows the exact moment a pulse-like rupture shoots through the Earth's crust, jerking the landscape in a fraction of a second. What we're seeing is textbook rupture dynamics brought to life. Only it's not in a textbook anymore. It's right there, on screen, and it's stunning. The motion is what scientists call strike-slip, a horizontal movement along the fault. But this wasn't a gentle glide. It was a burst. A quick, concentrated slip pulse, a rupture that tears through the crust with speed and precision. 1 second the Earth is still, the next it's jolting sideways, and then it's still again, all within seconds. And that's where things get even more fascinating. Because this rupture didn't just move fast. Parts of it moved faster than the speed of shear waves. That's right, super shear. It's a rare, high-energy phenomenon where the rupture front outpaces the very seismic waves it creates, focusing energy forward like a sonic boom. Except instead of breaking the sound barrier, it's breaking the rules of how earthquakes usually behave. The result? A concentrated cone of destruction. A directional blast of seismic energy that's not only more intense, but more targeted. Think of it as an earthquake's version of a sniper shot, calculated, efficient, and potentially devastating for anything in its path. What makes this even more wild is that it didn't happen on some offshore fault or remote mountain range. This was a continental transform fault, the kind that runs under cities, under roads, under lives. The footage doesn't just show lateral motion, it shows complexity. The rupture path isn't a straight line. It curves. It twists. There are tiny vertical components. A bit of uplift here, a drop there. The Earth doesn't slip like a sheet of paper, it folds like origami under pressure. And the offset, about 2.5 meters, or roughly 8 feet, depending on the spot. That's enough to instantly destroy roads, misalign rail tracks, and shear buildings off their foundations. It's the kind of shift you don't walk away from if you're directly above it. And yet miraculously the footage exists. From a science perspective, this video is gold. It's a live-action bridge between decades of theory and the raw reality of tectonic mechanics. For years, scientists have used lab simulations, seismic records, and satellite measurements to piece together what earthquake rupture looks like in the real world. Now, they have the real world frame by frame. This video validates lab findings on things like dynamic weakening mechanisms, thermal pressurization, flash heating, all the weird, fast physics that let rock suddenly behave like a liquid for a split second. These processes were once confined to research papers and theoretical models. Now, they're visible.
If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Your feedback helps shape what we cover next, and you being here keeps the conversation going. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
Friction playing out in real time. You can almost see the energy zigzagging its way along the fault, bursts of movement where the crust gives way easily, pauses where it resists. And that has huge implications for seismic hazard modeling, because let's be honest, the way we plan for earthquakes has often been based on averages. Average slip, average rupture speed, average shaking. But this footage, it throws that out the window. There's nothing average about this. It's sudden, it's chaotic, and it's full of local anomalies that completely reshape how we should be thinking about damage zones. Take the surface curvature. In the video, you can see that the displacement isn't just linear, it bows, it arches. That tells scientists the fault doesn't rupture along a single, flat plane. It moves in 3 dimensions, influenced by rock heterogeneities, buried structures, and even tiny shifts in geometry that change the way energy flows. It also means the way we build infrastructure, bridges, highways, pipelines needs a rethink. Because straight-line models of fault behavior don't cut it anymore. Not when you can see the earth bend, twist, and lurch in unexpected directions. And it doesn't end there. The Mandalay earthquake has become a case study overnight. It's a crash course in the terrifying precision of tectonic energy and how fault behavior is anything but simple. The footage is already being used to cross-check rupture simulations, stress transfer models, and dynamic slip theories. It's a gift to earthquake science, but also a grim reminder of how much we still don't control. Because no matter how advanced our models get, the Earth always has the final say. And this time, it chose to show its hand. So what do we take away from this? First, that rupture is more violent, fast, and focused than most of us ever imagined. Second, that continental transform faults once thought to be more manageable than their oceanic counterparts can produce exactly the kind of complex, high-speed, high-energy events we thought were reserved for subduction zones. And third, that sometimes, all it takes is one video to change the game. This isn't just a breakthrough for science, it's a wake-up call for anyone living near a fault line. Because while this footage might seem like a scientific miracle, what it really is a preview. A preview of what strike-slip faults can do when the stress finally wins. So, are you watching closely? Because the Earth is showing us its secrets one rupture at a time. Think this footage changes how we understand earthquakes. Blown away by what the ground can do in mere seconds? Drop your thoughts in the comments and join the conversation. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories from the edge of tectonic madness, because when the Earth decides to move, we'll be here to catch every terrifying, inspiring second of it. Until then, stay curious, stay grounded, and maybe don't build directly on a fault. Just saying. Alright, so you've seen the footage. You've watched the Earth slip sideways like it's got somewhere to be. And now your brain's trying to make peace with the fact that yes, the planet just moved like that. In one clean, violent motion. Still reeling. Same. Because here's the part that truly shakes you once the shock of the footage wears off. This wasn't a once in a millennium, never gonna happen again type of event. This was a textbook rupture, only now we have the textbook on camera. And it happened on a fault that's been known, mapped, and monitored for decades. In other words, the Earth isn't hiding its power. It's been warning us the whole time. We just finally caught it in the act. Let's get into what really makes this footage so spine-chilling for geologists and disaster scientists. It's the clarity. You're not squinting through shaking cell phone video. This is high frame rate, close range, lab quality footage, but on a planetary scale. It's the kind of clean data scientists dream about and usually only get to simulate. Except this time, it wasn't generated in a model. It happened. You're seeing a rupture pulse travel across the ground, snapping years, maybe decades of pent-up tectonic tension in the blink of an eye. The fact that it unfolds in literal seconds is part of the horror. There's no long, slow cracking. No drawn-out, creaking warning. The fault gives way with terrifying efficiency, like a trapdoor opening beneath you. Snap, shift, done. But here's the kicker, it's not just fast, it's smart. Well, not smart in the conscious sense, but smart in the way nature tends to be. The rupture doesn't follow a perfect line. It bends, it curves, it adjusts to the rock, to the structure, to the stress field. The fault path is alive, reactive, and opportunistic. This is where things get even more real for engineers and hazard modelers. Because traditional building codes and quake-resistant designs, they're often built around assumptions. Clean fault lines, predictable ground motion, standardized shake maps. But when the Earth decides to throw a curveball, literally those models can fall apart. If the ground doesn't move the way we expected, neither do the buildings, the roads, the pipelines, the lives built on top of them. The Mandalay quake is now the poster child for why assumptions in seismic modeling need constant updating. You can't rely on averages when the rupture behaves like an unpredictable, multi-directional whip crack. The footage makes it crystal clear. This was not a smooth, uniform displacement. It was chaotic, varied, localized. Some places got shifted meters in a blink, others barely budged, and there's no neat pattern to explain it. That's rupture heterogeneity, and it's a huge deal. Because when stress isn't distributed evenly along a fault, you don't get equal damage. You get patchy, devastating, hyperlocal chaos. One street shears off, the one next to it, barely a scratch. That randomness isn't just terrifying, it's a logistical nightmare for emergency response, retrofitting, and insurance modeling. But let's not forget the star of the show, supershear. This is the headline act that had geophysicists losing their minds. It's the moment the rupture velocity actually outruns the seismic shear waves it's generating. And yes, that's as insane as it sounds. Think about it like this. Normally, when a rupture propagates through a fault, it moves slower than the seismic waves that carry the shaking. That's what gives you time, maybe only seconds, but still time for warning systems to pick it up, for early response protocols to activate, for alerts to fire off. But when the rupture goes supershear, all baits are off. Now the rupture front is traveling at or faster than those seismic waves, forming a concentrated, Mach-like shock cone of energy. It's a seismic version of a fighter jet breaking the sound barrier, only the sonic boom is made of ground shaking, structure breaking, violently focused energy. And it doesn't spread out. It narrows. It aims. That's the horrifying part. The shaking isn't just strong, it's directional. If you're unlucky enough to be in the path of that energy cone, the shaking can be exponentially worse than what even the magnitude number suggests. So when scientists watched that footage and realized parts of the rupture had likely gone supershear, it was like finding the smoking gun. Confirmation that this isn't a theoretical risk. It's real. It happens. And it might be more common than we thought, just usually happening too fast to see. But now we've seen it, and we can't unsee it. And what about the way the ground looked during the rupture? The lateral motion is stunning, sure. But if you watch closely, there's also a subtle vertical component, tiny pops and dips, the kind of motion that hints at geometric irregularities along the fault surface. That tells scientists something huge. Strike-slip faults, which are often thought of as purely horizontal movers, can still produce complex, three-dimensional surface deformation. So now it's not just about left-right motion. It's about twist, lift, tilt, all of which add layers of complexity to how we understand surface damage and what we should be preparing for. This video is a seismic Rosetta Stone. It links theoretical models, lab experiments, and real-world data in a way that hasn't happened before. And it's making scientists rethink everything from rupture velocity assumptions to near-surface slip behaviors. It's also proving that high-speed, high-resolution visual data is more than a research tool, it's a necessity. The ability to match visual cues to seismic records, to overlay GPS displacement with literal video frames, opens up a whole new era of earthquake science. So, what's the long-term takeaway here? Simple. This is the future of seismology. Not just numbers on a seismograph, not just GPS data slowly shifting pixels on a map, but visual evidence, raw, undeniable proof that the Earth's crust doesn't care about our infrastructure, our predictions, or our planning. It moves when it wants. And it moves fast. And what about us? Well, now we know. The video has made it impossible to pretend this kind of rupture is just theoretical. We've seen the Earth in action, and we can't go back. This is the moment when a concept becomes reality. When years of modeling and forecasting finally connect to something tangible. And it's changing how we prepare, how we build, and how we think about living on faults. Because here's the truth that the Mandalay quake exposed for all of us. The ground is never truly still. It's just waiting. And when it decides to move, when it snaps, you'd better hope your science is ready. Your cities are ready. You are ready. So yeah, it's just a video. But it's also a warning. One that comes not in words, but in motion, in displacement, in the cold, hard lurch of the planet beneath your feet. And if that doesn't make you sit up and pay attention, you might not be paying close enough attention at all. So have thoughts. shocked by what you saw. Can't believe the Earth can do that in a single, horrifying instant. Let's talk about it in the comments. Share it, break it down, debate it, and of course subscribe for more breakdowns, more science, and more jaw-dropping moments when nature shows us exactly who's in charge. Until then, keep your eyes on the ground, because it moves fast when it wants to. This video changes the way we think about the ground under our feet. Because sure, on paper, we all know tectonic plates are moving, that the crust shifts, that earthquakes are a thing. We nod along to the science, we memorize safety tips, we do our drills. But that's theory. That's textbook stuff. Then this footage drops and suddenly, it's not just theory anymore. It's reality. Visible, measurable, undeniable. The Earth, in full view, performing one of its most violent acts with the kind of clarity we've never had before. And it shakes something loose in us. Because watching the ground move sideways in one clean shot, like some invisible giant shoved the entire surface of the planet a full 8 feet to the side, isn't just a cool scientific observation. It's existential. You see it and immediately think, what if I had been standing there? What if that had been a building? A train track? A runway? How do you even prepare for that kind of raw motion? This wasn't just a jiggle or a wobble. This was displacement. Permanent, physical, final, and the scariest part, you can't stop it. When faults like this again decide to move, it's not a gentle negotiation. It's not a warning sign with blinking lights. It's release. Years, decades, even centuries of pressure suddenly unleashed in mere seconds. The speed of it is what makes it so hard to process. How does something that's slow to build unravel that fast? It's because Earth doesn't deal in comfort. It deals in energy, stored, concentrated, and then catastrophically released in one violent movement. What the video captured was exactly that. A moment of truth. A fault saying, I've had enough, and letting go. And let's be honest, it wasn't just scientists who were left stunned. The footage, once it hit the internet, went viral for a reason. Not because of the numbers. Not because it was a 7.7 or because some journal published a new friction model. It went viral because of how it looked. Because you could see it with your own eyes. It looked wrong. It looked impossible. Thanks so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, you're officially part of the small percentage of people who don't just click away, and that means a lot. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me your thoughts, your ideas, or even what you'd like to see next. I read every single one of them, and your feedback genuinely shapes the direction of this channel. If you enjoyed the video, tap that like button. It tells YouTube this content is worth sharing. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next upload. We've got more exciting videos coming, and trust me, you'll want to be here for them. This channel is just getting started, and your support helps it grow faster than you realize. Thank you again for spending a part of your day here with me. Stay curious, stay motivated, and as always, take care of yourself. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.